Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another video. This one, I'm gonna do my best. Another hard video to shoot, but it's worthwhile. This is the fourth coolant bypass I have put in since March, just doing it on the side. So our subject today is this 07.5 to 09 third gen 6.7 with the 68 RFE, and we are installing a coolant bypass on this. Now, off camera, I went ahead and drained the coolant. Third gens, it's pretty easy. If you're unfamiliar with the coolant bypass, it is this piece right here. This is what bolts onto the back. We have our two bolts that secure it, our hose, and then this goes underneath our upper coolant outlet where your thermostat is at. It's made by Fleece Performance. I would say it's the best kit available on the market. Now, not everyone needs a coolant bypass. I've seen plenty of guys go without it. I've seen plenty of guys have success with it. What it's designed to do is relieve the hot coolant temperature in cylinder number 6 and 5 and prevent essentially pistons from kind of dragging on the skirts from swelling. It is a good idea, especially on stock motors, tow engines, especially. I really like them. In competition use, I'm really not a big fan. It's over so fast. It's one more place to leak, one more part to fail, and it is more weight. So I'm not going to say that you can't use it, but that's why I always see people ask why I never put them on our race engines. And quite simply, it just is overcomplicated for the application. But in your tow trucks, stuff like that, they work fantastic. I feel like Fleece's kit is the most complete and the best quality. Now, taking you guys back here, all right, now I know this is the front of the block technically, but this freeze plug right here, which is also located on the back of the block, is the problem. It's what you got to knock out. Now, it is much easier to install this with the transmission out. However, it is very doable with the transmission in, and we're going to demonstrate that. Okay, so for starters on this job, we're going to go ahead, rip all this apart. We just got to get to the top, so I find it's easiest to essentially take this thing down to where the valve cover's off, upper, lower valve cover. We'll get a CCV off. I usually disconnect this coolant line here. You guys can see I already took the 90 off as well. You want to give yourself more room to be able to reach backwards. Coincidentally, this guy also wants us to run his valve lash, so kill two birds, one stone there, and then we'll get to the stuff underneath. But for starters, that's where we begin. Okay, so now we're down to here. I'm gonna stick you guys back here, try to talk a little bit louder. Moving back here, you guys can see, hopefully, the bracket right there. That's gotta come off. Again, this is all very tight, but there's a bracket there. There's 4 bolts. There are 2 bolts that hold it to the engine, 2 bolts that hold it to the trans. You just gotta feel them. That's the best thing I can do to describe it to you. You just got to feel them. And then you break them free. They're not super bad. Okay, for starters, we're gonna go ahead and remove, flipped you around there, sorry. For starters, the 2 bolts that hold that electrical bracket on, and then we'll be able to see the driver's side much better. I'm gonna get that removed. All right, now if you look real close, get you guys zoomed in here, we can see the 1 bolt right there. And then, so there's one right there, that's the vertical. And then this one over here is the horizontal. Very easy to get to with just a long extension and some swivel sockets. So I'm gonna zip that one out real quick. So here's the top bolt that bolts from the top down. You can remove this wheel well liner if you want, but what I do is I just stick my arm right through here and down, and you can get it. I'm gonna show you guys on this side because it's just easier to get the camera in here, but little flex head box end 15, and you want to be ready for when this does break free. Let me get 2 hands on it here. Okay, so as I was saying, as the phone fell, this is gonna end very poorly if I don't use 2 hands to break it free, but we did as soon as the phone fell. Okay, get it to where the wrench no longer grabs it. We're reaching around back here and we're gonna thread this out. You guys get the gist, and then we'll work on this one, which you can go with an extension that way, or if you want, you can put your wrench on it. And you're gonna, oh, good Lord. Again, you guys can kind of see the setup. I'm gonna need 2 hands. Hold on. As I was saying, 2 hands. So there you go. Both these are free now, so we can unthread them like so. And it's usually easier to break both bolts free and then unthread them, because these brackets kind of get bound up. We'll just drop that to the ground. Threading it out like so. Come on, baby. Be good to me. There we go. I'm gonna have to do some more wrist work out here because the old Nutbuster 9000 here is getting a little weak. And then this bracket just pulls out like so. And it does usually have, yeah, it has the transfer case breather on it. You guys can see it. Let me see, right there. So we'll break that free. It's just a little tab. Honestly, usually you can just kind of pop it off. Now that this bracket's there, if you break the plastic, it's fine. So there's that little plastic. Just kind of break it free. Here's the part. Honestly, in my opinion, this is the hardest part. But it's up to you. Pimp's choice, I suppose. Now, let's go take a look at this freeze plug here. Okay, so we're looking at it from the driver's side. You guys are gonna go vertical so I can get the phone up. Right there, you could just see the crown of it right there. That little silver piece, okay, directly above the transmission. All right, that's the freeze plug. It's behind that plate. Now we're on the passenger side. All right, vertical right there. Okay, so there it is. Now this is important to note, much easier on this side. So all you're gonna do is take a pry bar and you're gonna run the pry bar. You guys are right there, jammed up. You can see the little dent right here along the side of the transmission, in between the exhaust and the transmission. Nice long pry bar, and then you're gonna hammer it. And you don't wanna necessarily knock it straight in. You wanna pick a side. So on our side, we're looking at it from the back. I'm gonna take a pry bar and hit the passenger side to essentially flip this thing out. Now, like I said, you guys gotta use your imagination, okay? I know it's hard to see. It's hard to see in real life. This is why people hate doing it. This is why I charge so much money for it, is I just have came up with a strategy to make it happen. I also have this swanky pry bar that's purposely bent, and then a hammer. And we're gonna essentially knock it over. I'm gonna go under there, try to get that set up, but like I said, very hard to get the camera in the right spot. I'm gonna see if maybe we can get it, set you guys on top and do it that way. All right, unfortunately, no can do. So we'll have to make do, because I absolutely refuse to pull the transmission down, because that is absolutely uncalled for. So we're gonna try and do this together. Shed a little light on the situation. You guys are going vertical, I apologize. But as you can see, we have busted it free. Not gonna lie, this one really tested my patience. I was pretty pissed for a while on this one, but we got it free. I guess it's been a while since I've had to do a 3rd gen 6.7, but I'll show you guys the configuration we had. But there it is, nice and loose. Should be able to get that out by hand. A little reliable here, 2 3/8 extensions and a straight blade screwdriver from my impact driver set. Got her done. Not too bad. Again, I think even going back and forth, it was a 10-minute ordeal. Not too bad. And then reaching both hands, one through here, one through here. You're gonna take your little screwdriver, pry it out, and there you go. As you guys can see, we didn't damage anything. I'll stick you guys up there so we can check the freeze plug hole together. This one was in there though. You can see many taps. Let's go check it. They're going vertical. And there you have it. There's your freeze plug hole. As you can see, no damage to the surrounding hole. Great success. All right, so as you guys saw there, no damage to the hole. We're gonna use some emery cloth, which Fleece does include in the kit right here. And Scotch-Brite this all up. Sorry, Scotch-Brite the hole up. You want it not to be able to catch your finger. Like you should want to be able to kind of run your finger around the edge of that hole, and it shouldn't cut or feel sharp, because the O-ring will cut if it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up best I can, and then I'll stick the camera back up. All right, as you can see, a little bit of rust discoloration. Got that all cleaned up, nice and smooth. Now we take our main piece and let's get to work. The key to this install, okay? One piece. Lube this O-ring. I like to use the Mall assembly lube or the Lucas assembly lube. Kind of looks like this right here. This stuff. Or let me find the, I don't know. I'm not sure where the other stuff went. Yeah, okay. So we'll just use this. Or if you find the Molly stuff, it's brown. Run that along your finger. Shout out to Brandon. He actually taught me that a long time ago. Appreciate you, buddy. And we're going to put a little on the table. And you want to lube up this O-ring. You don't want a lot of resistance when you put this O-ring on, okay? Notice how there's no silicone on this because you're not a hack job. Do not put silicone. Now, if you're reusing the O-ring, which I highly suggest you don't, then go ahead, use a little. Then I'm gonna take this last little bit and rub it on the inside of the block. All right, guys, so what I did off camera real quick, shout out to my wife for being the camera woman. I went ahead and I put the line on. I forgot to cover that step
but Kyler is already under there with the camera in place, so we're just gonna let it roll here. You gotta sneak it through like so. Unfortunately, there's no way to really prevent this thing from getting scratched when you are installing it inside of the truck. I've tried it a million different ways, never been successful. Just repositioning my body here. So you guys can see the hole. We're working it towards the hole here.
Here, my part here.
Again, we're doing this all blind. And just like that, she pops in, rotate it. Now we're gonna go ahead and throw our bolts in.
Out to the wife. What a great camera lady. All right, so you guys kind of saw me fight that, getting it in. Now we're gonna go ahead and install the provided hardware from Fleece. If you want, you can use the factory hardware for your block stiffener, transmission stiffener, but we are gonna go ahead and just use the Fleece provided bolts. And now you guys can kind of see what I mean. We already had the hose hooked up. I forgot that step, I apologize. But you want that put on because it's almost impossible to get a wrench in there to tighten it. So make sure you tighten that really good. Also pay attention to how the hose is clocked. So that way it kind of naturally wants to flow down this manifold. So little blue Loctite and a wrench, and we'll get these thrown in. We got Jace on cleanup duty over here. Okay, so now as we move up here, we got to take this heat shield off, which you actually don't have to take the bolts all the way out. Like so. This shield slides off like so. Throw it up here. Now we got to get our water outlet bolts out. Those are also 8, like so. Under here is our thermostat. Notice we don't even take the coolant hose off. Okay, we're just gonna pull these bolts out, throw them off to the side, kind of wiggle that. Now, on these, it is a little difficult because of the temp sensor. Okay, I honestly forgot about this step. All you're gonna do is just loosen that little nut right there, and it'll allow you to pivot it. And usually what I end up doing is kind of bending it right here to give it more of an upward travel. Okay, so now you guys can see this is nice and loose here. Gonna go ahead, slap his thermostat back in like so. We'll clean that up a little bit, maybe some emery cloth real fast. That's actually pretty cruddy. And then we'll throw it together. Hooking up our hose now. You don't want to hook it up all the way, just kind of thread it on a little bit like so. You guys saw us go through, and I did hit these with the torque wrench once we moved the camera, but these are torqued now. We got to put our hose clamps on. Easiest way I found to do that split the hose clamps in half. And what I mean by the hose clamps, brackets, whatever you want to call them, these parts right here, split them in half. Install the one side on the engine first, and then install this part second. I find it easier. Do with that information as you wish. I also use a little blue Loctite on the bolts that go into the cylinder head. I do not Loctite the little ones. So I'm going to go ahead and throw those on. All right, and then obviously, as we're tightening this line down, we want to make sure that we use an AN style wrench, because there's nothing worse in my opinion than scratching your brand new coolant bypass. Oh, that's lovely. We'll have to make sure we tighten that fitting as well. But I'm going to get this tightened up. Ran his valves real quick. Also put his injector wire splitters back on. I always take those off as a precaution so I don't break them. They pull out pretty easy. Anyway, now we're gonna go ahead and put it back together. RIP to this man's coolant hose quick disconnect. When I popped it off, it broke, so I'm gonna go to the store, get one of those, and then as you guys saw, his hose clamp for the EGR coolant pipe came apart on me when I took it apart. So no big deal. We're gonna go ahead, slam this thing back together real quick, throw some coolant in it, maybe not, I don't know, and maybe we'll get you guys a test drive. But all in all, not bad. You guys saw me put the heat exchange or the coolant bypass in. I did the best I could. This is obviously normal stuff, and now let's put it back together so we can finish it up. And I was looking under there when I was barring it. I saw a bunch of coolant. It got me thinking about this right here, and I decided I'm just gonna charge this guy for a new thermostat gasket here and do him a favor. I'm pretty sure this is where it was leaking from. You could see the staining, so I'm gonna clean this up and get this thrown together. All right, folks, so here she is. I will put that last vanity cover on as soon as we're done. Got everything buttoned up. Let the customer know about the couple of broken parts that happened and that thermostat gasket. And if he has any questions, I'll just tell him to like watch the video where you could clearly see there was some crust there for sure. And then I always give the customers back their old parts. So, you know, you could see all this white crust here where it was leaking past the gasket, and then this, just the inside crack. So again, we're gonna go run to the parts store real quick to get that quick disconnect. I don't have one here. And clean up our mess. But all in all, about 2 hours. Again, it's easier for me because I understand all of the stuff that's back there and I can do it all by feel. If this is your first time, the only thing I would say is you could drop the transmission cross member, drop the transmission. You don't have to disconnect anything. Just drop it down and you can tilt the motor down. It gives you a little bit more room if you're new to it. But we'll get this buttoned up here and I'll show you guys the last couple steps. So we got her fired up, got her bled. What's crazy, you notice how, I wish I would have taken a video. This thing was thumping real bad. We set this valve lash a lot quieter. No more thumpy. I like it. All right, folks, we went ahead and sprayed it off where we spilled a little bit. I'm not exactly sure on the water and fuel light that was on as soon as I got in it, so we'll just let that be what it is. We're gonna go for a test drive, and then hopefully by then our driveway dries off and we can let it idle in the driveway. 68 truck too. I love 3rd gen 68s. 373s with a 68 was prime. So we'll go test drive it, make sure we don't have any leaks, anything like that. This guy should be good to grab it. Tell you what, these 3rd gen, I know I've said it before, but these 3rd gen 6.7 brakes are just, they're different. Dang. I mean, when I say different, I love it. I need to convince Kyla to let me get another one of these 6.7s. I don't know what we'll do with it, but I want one badly. All right, so we are back at the house. We found a clean piece of concrete, and now we wait. We wait. You locked in there? Oh God. Little man down. I don't see any leaks. Probably have to fill up his coolant a little bit. Dry. That's the air conditioner. It was coming off the transmission. We'd have coolant right there. Off the evaporator, which we don't. It's just air conditioning. Nice. Well, my bad. I forgot to shoot an outro clip on the coolant bypass. Just got a lot of new content coming and totally forgot. And not only that, that guy showed up like 2 hours later to pick it up. So it is long gone. Haven't heard from him. So I'm going to assume all good things. Again, not a super hard job. Hopefully I did the best I could to show you the process of doing it to the best of my abilities. Obviously, outside of the truck on a bare engine is the easiest, but I wanted to give you guys a hindsight of what you're in for if you want to attempt to do this in frame with the transmission installed. All in all, if you're a shop or a person doing it yourself, charge whatever you think is fair. I usually charge guys about 2 to 3 hours. It just depends on the configuration. Like the 48s, I charge more. The 68s, it's just that bracket. All in all, in my opinion, it's about an hour-and-a-half job, tops. We did his valve lash as well, so added a little bit of time. Mix that in with filming it for you guys and the kids running around. You know, it can turn into a half a day real quick. But that's what the coolant bypass is for. We covered it. The hot cylinder temperatures on number 6 to help reduce the coolant temp for the pistons swelling. Again, great upgrade on a tow truck. In my opinion, not needed in a race or hot street application. So hopefully you guys like this video. Drop your comments down below. Subscribe if you're not already. And as always, I will catch y'all on the next one.